At the last meeting of the Board of Supervisors, upon petition of the parents of 17 children, a new school district has been set off and established south of Tempe. The country embraced is rapidly filling up with a desirable class of settlers, and ere long will be quite a populous section. So that was a prediction that came true. The Kyrene School District was founded in 1888. In the 1880s in the Arizona Territory, a lot of things are happening. Let me back up to 1862. That's the year the United States Congress and President Lincoln signed the Homestead Act. And the Homestead Act was to facilitate the movement of American citizens west. That was important in the settling of Kyrene School District. And people are beginning to move south of Baseline Road and to apply for homesteads and to begin farming. The parents had already started teaching their kids. Mr. Wagner told me. Mr. Wagner was superintendent principal from 1938 to 72. The parents were teaching their children in their home. There's one story that there was a makeshift building that blew down in a storm. But in '88, they decided that they wanted to formalize it, and the Board of Supervisors was petitioned. That's how you did it, and you had to have a certain number of kids. There were 17 kids, 9 sets of parents, and so the district was founded. Those days, most all of the school boards were just 3 members. And there were 3 members, and one of them was Colonel James Harvey McClintock. He actually was on the governing board and was teacher at the same time. And one of them was Mr. J.C. Goodwin, who had led the Hemingway expedition to excavate the land where the Holcomb had lived. And the other one was Mr. G.T. Gray. And so these 3 men started, and for a number of years, it was not very much happened that was, of note. I read the school board minutes from the 30s. They're in a journal, and there must be 15 years, and a journal is no thicker than this. One meeting today, I suspect, is about this thick. Mrs. Minnie Old was the first recorded female on the governing board. And then 10 years later, Hazel Hazard, and then for 42 years there were no females on the governing board at Kyrene School. So in 1976, Mrs. Helen Schaefer and Mrs. Sarah Hubert were elected to the governing board. At 5 years later, for a period of about 6 months, the Kyrene School Board was all female. Kyrene moved up to 5 board members in the 1960s because, as Mr. Wagner had said to me, we knew things here were going to start popping. In the 60s, Kyrene knew they were going to start growing, and at some point around 1970 or 71, a new piece of land was purchased on Carver Road in the same square mile where the original school had been, and a one building was all, they didn't have any more budget capacity to build more than an 8-room building. That's the way it was when I came to Kyrene. There was the old school at Kyrene and Warner, and there was the beginning of a second school, and actually a third, because Kyrene Middle School and Kyrene Wagner are both on that site today. I became superintendent in 1972 after a year as principal. I spent a year as principal, and Mr. Wagner retired after 32 years. And immediately the school district started growing. I had a number of jobs that were that I relished. I enjoyed doing them. And not only did I had to project student growth, I didn't have an algorithm. I had to go to planning departments of Tempe, Chandler, Phoenix, Maricopa County, and say, is anything moving in? By the time I retired in 1987, the district had grown 1,100%. It was not easy, but I don't have any complaints about it. It was long, and there were conflicts, as there always are, because they're jockeying and positioning. But it was a great opportunity, and you almost say that and it sounds kind of insipid and silly, but it was. It was an incredible opportunity to think that you could get to start something and create something new like that. It was a great job. I got to hire teachers. The other thing that was important was an identity and a culture. A culture is the way we do things around here, simply stated. And so the rule was, we're going to respect the dignity of all people and kids come first, and if you're not willing to do that, you don't want to work here. I interviewed every teacher. I want this to be a good place for you, teacher, and principal and custodian. It doesn't matter who you are, and kids came first. I never made any bones about that. Part of that identity was the simple thing like using the term Kyrene. We're not quite sure where the name came from. There has been some speculation that as a number of places in the Salt River were named by a man that was referred to as Lord Darrell Dupas. He was responsible for naming several places, including Phoenix, and then he named Tempe. When the railroad came through in 1887, apparently every so often they had a sidetrack. Those sidings had a name. It's likely that there was a siding named Kyrene that had come from this Lord Darrell Dupas. I had recommended to the board by that time that all of the schools have the name Kyrene. And the reason that I thought that was important was that because we knew we were going to be in Tempe and Chandler and Phoenix and Guadalupe, and in order to identify and connect that this would be not only for the district's advantage, but for the community's advantage, to give it a sense of identity. I am a citizen of Phoenix. My children go to the Kyrene School District. And I suggested that we use a Spanish modifier, descriptor, because of the heritage that we had. People were moving in and they lived in Tempe or they lived in Chandler and they thought, what in the world is a Kyrene? We have never heard of this. And I literally went into I would say to someone, can you get some of your neighbors to come in tonight or this week or next week? I'll come and talk to you about this. I did a lot of that. Some people have asked me recently about the little K kid. And I would pay tribute not only to all the fine educators, teachers, and principals, and other administrators in this, but to the classified folks. At some point in the 70s, someone came up with the idea that we needed something that represented the district. So Wyona Reeder, who lived in the district, her children had gone to the Kyrene schools, came up with the K Kid. And that was in probably the little past the mid-70s, 77 or 78. And I was very pleased to see on the building